So if your esthetician is great at treating patients, but terrible at selling those $3,000 packages over the phone, it's not her fault. It's the lack of systems because you hired someone to schedule appointments, then ask them to close five-figure transformations. So I'm going to show you exactly what's breaking and how much it's going to cost you every week, because the revenue leak is not when the leads go unanswered. It's when your team picks up the phone and loses the sale. So you've been looking at the wrong problem. That's where I'm going to start, because most clinic owners obsess over after-hour leads. They say that they get a lot of calls at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. over the weekend, calls that come in, and the real revenue really happens when during the business hours is right under their nose, when the front desk is live on the phone with qualified leads, yes, and still cannot close them. So the calls they answer are costing you more than the calls they miss in opportunity cost. And so these are the three mistakes. Number one is a lack of a sales script. Your team improvises every call without a proven framework to guide the conversation towards a commitment. And this is the key: guide them towards a commitment. It's important to take a deposit to get a commitment, skin in the game, because otherwise your no-shows are going to be going through the roof. Number two, wrong hire, wrong role. So essentially, a lot of people end up being appointment setters and they're not trained for it. So you hired a scheduler and ask them to sell five-figure transformations, which is not their skill set. It's like asking a receptionist to do your bookkeeping. Those things are just completely different, okay? And then the last one is zero follow-up systems, which is to say that even if you do this, the first two right, leads who don't book on the first call, and there's many of them, fall through the cracks with no structured re-engagement plan, because the stats show that only 20-30% of the leads book on the first touch point, and the other ones, they get wasted. And so this isn't your esthetician's fault. So please, whatever you do, do not blame the estheticians. Do not take it out on them. They're exceptional at treating patients, and that's the same reason why they're terrible at selling. Because chances are, when you think about a good treatment provider, esthetician, injector, they're agreeable, they're friendly, they're courteous, they're hospitable, right? And that's what makes them great at treating, not so great at selling packages over the phone, where things can get uncomfortable, where they need to push, they need to educate, lead, challenge, and address objections, right? And so when you ask a clinician to close high-ticket consultations without training, you are setting both of you up to fail, themselves and you. Now, just how badly? What's the cost of getting this wrong? I mean, let's take an average $3,000 cost per loss package, which is every unconverted lead that represents a high-ticket treatment package that went to a competitor. And then let's imagine an average 15 lost calls per week, which is not that uncommon. 15 calls per week, 60 calls per month is essentially how med spas build seven-figure businesses, or, with even fewer calls as long as they're qualified and high intent. And so what does that leave you? Let's assume 1 in 3 is convertible, closable. That essentially leaves you with 5 times 3, $15,000 weekly revenue gap. That's how much money you're leaving on the table right now. So it's silent. Yes, you're not even aware that it's there. And yet that is the difference between drowning in overheads, fixed costs, all of your running out now, and not bringing in that cash that's needed to hire good talent, to buy machines, to expand, and to reinvest in your growth, in your marketing, in your sales. So let's dive right in. Why am I going to bring up the number one mistake, the sales script? See, I remember even now when I started setting appointments for our med spa partners almost 3 years ago now, I was doing it all myself, and I was desperate to get my hands on a proven sales script. And I basically pieced it together from one place and another, the objections that I found, the rebuttals, the proven techniques, the psychological and persuasion kind of handles and levers that I could find and put together into a structured script, without which your front desk relies on instinct. And instinct could help, but it doesn't close $3,000 packages, especially not consistently. And every call becomes a gamble, and you're basically leaving that to chance, okay? So chances are that right now what happens is your reps answer your questions reactively. They fail to build value and default to let me check availability, okay? So it's the difference between letting okay, I'll think about it, or okay, let me talk to my spouse about it, or let me check my calendar, and an actual guided conversation that takes people from a place of I might want this, I'm curious, to I definitely want this. This is exactly what I was looking for. So this is what should happen. A proven call framework that guides the lead from curiosity to commitment in a single conversation. This is so important. A good sales conversation, a good setting conversation is essentially a sales process in disguise. You take someone from what's in the way, What's the goal? You're looking to lose fat. What have you tried so far? What's worked? What hasn't? Why do you want to do it now? Personal urgency, super important. Because without it, people are just going to default to, I'll think about it, and then go back to procrastinating, right? So it's our responsibility, is the setter's responsibility to take this person by the hand, guide them through the journey, and make them pay a deposit, and then basically show up. So then mistake number two is you hired a scheduler, not a closer. So who you hired? Someone skilled in managing calendars, confirming appointments, and keeping the front desk running smoothly. Or it's your esthetician who doubles as these things. And these things are not that hard to do, right? Although at scale, with enough volume, with enough leads coming through, even these things done poorly can cost you significant revenue, thousands of dollars a month. But anyway, right now we're talking about what you asked for and the gap. So you're asking them to handle objections, articulate transformation value, build urgency, and close 5-figure treatment packages over the phone. These things are not rocket science. They're not witchcraft. They're not magic, but they require a different training, a different way of thinking about it. And again, like I said earlier, if these guys are agreeable and friendly and hospitable and they're great at their service, which is oftentimes what makes them great and liked by their clients, they're not going to be great at handling objections, because that's uncomfortable until you realize that it's just your responsibility as a salesperson to essentially do what's best in the interest of your client, right? Because they want it. There's a reason why they inquired. Nobody looks at Botox and fillers and skin tightening treatments and body contouring or any other energy devices until they actually have a desire that's blossomed, exploded, generated into something much, much bigger. Maybe suddenly they're no longer getting swiped on Tinder as they used to. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Something has changed in their life. They don't like the way they look in the mirror anymore, and they've looked at it one too many times, and now they've had enough, right? The cost of inaction is more painful than the action itself and the money they're going to spend on it. Let's not deviate. The fix is really straightforward. It's either retrain with battle-tested sales systems or hire a dedicated patient coordinator that's built for conversions. You have both options. It's not that hard to hire someone to recognize that some things you just don't want to learn yourself or teach your staff, and then just delegate it, elevate it, think like a business person, operate like an entrepreneur, not like a glorified contractor. And so finally, mistake number 3, no follow-up systems. Like I said, most leads don't book on the first call. About 30-40% book later down the line. And that's normal. What's not normal is to not follow up with them, because fortune's in the follow-up. And without a structured follow-up sequence, these leads go cold within 48 hours. This really is more like 48 minutes. A lead that's not called in the first hour, in the first 5 minutes even, gets to a competitor, someone who's on top of their dials, someone who's calling them straight away. People are very motivated for a very narrow window of time. They're extremely motivated, and then after that, it just wanes. And then they're getting into the procrastination, comfortable, that the opposite of baseline. They're just happy and complacent, right? And then you're basically waiting for them to finally be ready again, a month down the line, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line. And homeostasis, that's what that is. A systematic re-engagement process is required. Multi-channel, calls, texts, emails, WhatsApp, try Instagram DMs, try all the channels that you have available, which can recover up to 40% of the lost conversions that would otherwise disappear forever. And again, this is not a problem that's just applicable to beginning med spas, nurses, solo estheticians, or businesses in the 10 to 50K per month range. It's something that haunts even big established businesses that revenue more than 100 to 150K per month, businesses that do 3 mil per year, okay? Same fix, just different scale. Because this is what's breaking, and this is how much it's costing you. A lead calls, and then the front desk is picking up unprepared, leaving it to chance, spray and pray, see if it works. The lead lost, and then ghosts, because they weren't built. They failed to build rapport. They failed to be heard, to differentiate, to stand out, to take a deposit, to get people in and committed. The good news is that every stage of this breakdown is fixable. The question isn't whether your team can improve, it's how much longer you can afford to wait. Because like I said, every week, depending on the scale where you're at now, how much inbound you're getting from Google, how much you're getting from ads, from offline marketing, if you're getting 5 inquiries or if you're getting 50 inquiries, right, the problem compounds. And so the fix really starts with ownership. Your front desk isn't the problem, it's not broken. Your system or the lack thereof, that's where the problem is. And so if you give them the script, the training, and the follow process they need to convert every qualified lead, then you basically build yourself the engine of a multi-million-dollar business. Now, if you're looking for a proven phone sales script that's generated more than $3.5 million in revenue for the last 12 months alone, if you're looking for a proven system to train, hire, manage, place appointment setters for conversion, not just scheduling, with deposits collected, with guaranteed conversions, or simply just training your front desk reception or yourself, if you're still doing that yourself right now. And then finally, if you're looking for a structured follow-up, in case you're wondering, what should a pipeline look like? What is a pipeline even? How many touch points of follow-up? How do I follow up without hammering these guys on the phone until they basically tell me to, quarterly leave them alone? Well, there's SMS sequences, email sequences, text, WhatsApp sequences designed to warm these guys up to the idea of picking up the phone. It's 2026. A lot of people won't want to speak to you anymore, right? If they have the choice. And so if you're looking for any of these three things and essentially acquire 3+ years of working with over 200 med spas in 5 to 15 minutes, we are doing free advisory sessions right now. So if you are interested in scaling, then go to medspapatients.com, book your advisory session with myself and one of our strategists. And until next time, to your success.